We've talked about like the short-term plan of getting started before you start. What are you working on? But what about the like long-term after you've started publishing? Maybe you have a few books out in a series. How much planning do you consider like continuing to do or thinking about doing just to keep
Well,
things moving in the right direction? Is it just the
sure.
mark we just shift to marketing, or is it just write next book, or what do you think?
I think it's a combination of things. So some of which, a lot of it depends on you, the writer, right? So definitely, once you've gotten a few books under your belt, I do think you naturally are going to start shifting to marketing, because if you think about it, I mean, I think marketing essentially is all about maximizing your backlist, right? I mean, your new book is always going to be pushed the hardest by Amazon, and that's the one you're going to be telling all your readers on your list about. But theoretically, most of the people, but not all, on your list have read the books leading up to that, right? So that's where paid marketing starts to come in, to put those older books you've already done in front of new eyes, right? So you're maximizing the profits of the work you've already done. But along those lines, I also think that's sort of when you need to start taking stock of things like, am I still enjoying writing this series? Do I want to continue with this series? Is this series doing well financially, or is it not doing as well as I hoped? So for instance, I always go back to my Thomas Kane thriller series because those sell the best. I wrote 4 books in the Talon series. I enjoy those books, but I've gotten enough of them out there now that I can say, okay, those don't sell as well as the thrillers. So if I'm going to go back to that series, if that's more just for me and my pleasure of wanting to write it, but my expectations are it's not like I'm going to release that and make a ton of money off of that. So that kind of helps me prioritize what I work on next. I might try to do thrillers and then go back to that other series when I need a break. But also, I think you may find yourself in a position where, like I did, like, okay, do I want to keep writing in this one genre, or do I want to create a pen name? Do I want to expand? How much work do I want to put into that? Do I just want to be an open secret? My readers just know it's me. It's just a different name, or do I want to create a whole new, website and keep the books totally separate? How close are the books related? Those kinds of questions. And that's, I think, when those sorts of things start coming up, right?
Yeah. Or you can also totally pivot, like a friend of mine that I know, where you write a trilogy and then you start a self-publishing related software company, which is, for those who don't know, Damon's claim to fame there. But I'm not trying to throw him under the bus here at all, but but that's true. To a degree, you can always come back to writing. You can always come back to publishing. So if you write a trilogy or a series and you want to kind of just keep it on the back burner for a period of time, you can. I don't think I don't think that would be a bad publishing plan for somebody who maybe you love your day job and you're really passionate about that too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think if you can, and I've been a full-time author, I've been a full-time employee who just writes, when he got the time, and I've been sort of a mix of both. And I can honestly say they all have their pros and cons, right? Of course, but I think a lot of people think that the goal is to become a full-time author. And maybe that is for some people, and I'm not going to say there aren't great things about that, but I also think you need to be open-eyed and honest with yourself. There are some negative things about that too. And having been a full-time author, the pressure you feel when your books aren't performing the way you want them to is a real thing, and it starts becoming not fun fast. So I'm not saying any one of them is better than the other, but you may want to experience multiple scenarios like that before you decide what your goal actually is, because you may find, I make this much money with the books and I enjoy writing it. I'm happy with that. So maybe I could get like a part-time job doing this, and I can write, 2 hours a day, and I'm happy, and they sell enough combined with this income that I don't need to worry. And then if a book doesn't sell well, I've got this other income coming in. Like, that is not a bad plan. Like, that's a totally valid, goal to have.
Right.
I think I remember we were talking about this, I think last episode, but we were talking about how, Becca Syme, who, does all of the Write Better Faster, she would say, like, some of you need to have a part-time job because your creativity is being impacted by
Absolutely.
the fact that you are stressed about money, you're stressed about, making your house payments or rent or whatever. And you just need to have, even if it's part-time, but just having that extra financial security can actually free you up from feeling so bogged down by,
Yeah.
oh, this
The
book's not
massive.
selling, the book's not selling, it's not selling. So
I
yeah.
also think, look, like publishing is a business, and a lot of people I talk to are surprised. I don't know how to phrase it, but like, of course you want to do everything like as affordably, but to the highest standard that you can, right? But it's a lot easier to do that when you have income coming in, right? Because good covers are not free. Good editing is not free. Good formatting software is not free. Close to it, but not free. I mean, there are some costs. Like it's probably the cheapest form of creative expression you can do, but it still has some costs to it. And so if you've got another income, it's not such a big deal and you have to pay, $1,000 to an editor or something. But if you're depending on the book's income and that income's down, you're like, okay, well, now I have this other manuscript coming up. I have to get edited. I have to buy a cover. It can be a bit of a vicious cycle. So it's good to have, some other streams of income coming in. But also, another thing we didn't talk about yet, but as you are progressing along and you've got a few books out, I think that's also a good time to start looking at other formats for your books, whether or not you've expanded into audiobooks and paperbacks and hardcovers, things like that can provide extra streams of income, on the work you've already done. So that's another way to help kind of offset those rising costs, is to monetize your books in multiple ways.
Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos from BookFunnel, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.